All right, let's just jump right in. For decades, science has been learning how to read the instruction manual for human life. But what happens when we go from just reading the book to actually writing our own chapters? Well, based on some fantastic reporting from Wellcome and the BBC, we're going to explore a truly groundbreaking project that aims to do just that: synthesize a human genome, basically from scratch. You know, it's kind of hard to overstate just how huge the Human Genome Project was. It wrapped up about 25 years ago, and for the first time, it gave us the ability to read all 3 billion letters that make up our DNA. It was like finally getting the complete blueprint for a human being, which let us understand our own biology in ways we could only dream of before. And this is where the story takes an absolutely massive leap forward. Because now, scientists aren't just satisfied with reading the code, they're figuring out how to write it, molecule by molecule from the ground up. This isn't just a sequel, it's a completely different kind of story.
So, what does that even mean, to write the code of life? Let's get into what's actually behind this massive undertaking.
Okay, so this is a really crucial distinction to get. You've probably heard about genome editing, right, with tools like CRISPR? Think of that like using find and replace in a Word doc to fix a little typo. But genome synthesis, that's like opening a totally blank page and writing a brand new novel from scratch. The scale, the ambition, is just a whole other ballgame.
The project at the heart of all this is called SynHG, which is short for Synthetic Human Genome. It's this huge collaboration between top-tier UK universities. And their first goal isn't to, build a full synthetic human right away. The focus right now is on creating the foundational tools, the basic technology that's going to make this all possible in the future.
And make no mistake, this is no small-time effort. We're talking about £10 million in initial funding for just 5 years from the Wellcome Trust. That's the world's largest medical charity. That kind of money tells you just how seriously the scientific community is taking this new frontier.
So why? Why pour all this money and brainpower into it? Well, because the potential payoff is a future that could have almost unimaginable benefits for our health.
I mean, listen to this quote from Dr. Julian Sale, one of the scientists on the project. He says, "The sky is the limit." He's not talking about tiny improvements here. He's talking about fundamentally changing how we age and how we deal with disease. The vision is it's truly transformative.
So what could this actually look like in the real world? Well, imagine creating cells that are just naturally resistant to certain diseases. You could use them to repopulate a damaged liver or heart. Or what about engineering tissues that viruses literally can't infect? That would make transplants so much safer. The bottom line is, this technology could unlock the deepest secrets of our own biology and fast-track new treatments for who knows how many conditions.
But, and this is a huge but, with this kind of power, the power to literally rewrite life itself, comes profound risk and some very, very serious ethical questions. This isn't just a scientific challenge anymore. It's a moral one.
And that brings us to the central question hanging over this whole field, a question that the BBC's reporting really zeroed in on. Has the genie already been let out of the bottle? And if it has, are we even remotely prepared for the consequences?
And critics are definitely raising the alarm. Pat Thomas, from the group Beyond GM, points out that the same technology that could cure horrible diseases could, if it fell into the wrong hands, be repurposed to create biological weapons. That's a pretty sobering thought, right?
And this table lays out the conflict perfectly. On one side, you have these incredible hopes: healthier aging, cures for things we can't touch today. On the other side, you've got these deep fears: designer babies, bioweapons, and making changes to the human gene pool that we can't take back. Not to mention, who even gets to own synthetic life? These are not easy questions to answer.
And this warning is especially stark because it's not coming from a critic. It's coming from a highly respected geneticist, Professor Bill Earnshaw. He's basically saying that once the technology exists, it becomes incredibly hard to control. How can you regulate something on a global scale when the tools might eventually become available to almost anyone?
Now, the scientists behind SynHG are incredibly aware of all these dangers, and their answer isn't to just ignore them. Their plan is to build the ethical conversation directly into the scientific process, right from day one.
They're calling it careful synthesis. It's being led by Professor Joy Zhang, and it's a whole social science program that runs in parallel with the lab work. Its entire job is to proactively deal with the ethical and societal questions as the technology is being built, not after it's too late.
And this isn't just some vague promise. They have a clear 3-step plan. First, they're going to work directly with civil society groups,
Second, they're going to conduct studies with people all over the world to really understand their hopes and their concerns. And third, they'll use all that information to build a real practical toolkit for doing science responsibly.
As Professor Zhang says, the goal here is even bigger than just this one project. What they're really trying to do is create a whole new model for how science engages with the public, a model where the ethical guardrails get built right alongside the technological breakthroughs.
So when you boil it all down, we're left with this final, profound question. This technology is coming. The ability to write our own DNA is moving from sci-fi to sci-fact. So the conversation we all need to have isn't about if this will happen anymore. It's about the most important question of all. What should we write?